So we were desperate to come and view it. We just come and knocked on the door. We got it about 35,000 under market value, which was great. Most people these days want a big open kitchen diner, don't they? They want nice doors looking out onto their garden. They want a study.
It's probably going to increase the value by up to 5k.
By the end of this video, you're going to have mine and Mary's top 5 tips to getting the valuation you want. So welcome to Property Investing with Abby. On today's episode, we're talking about valuations, adding values to property and getting that all important money out of whatever property you've bought. So I've got a very special guest with me today. I've got Mary Cullen.
Hello, hi, lovely to be here, Abby. Thank you for having me here today. And I'm working on the overall design of this property and also positioning and branding your portfolio. As I say, build a brand, not just a portfolio, which I think is where we all should be aiming, to be honest.
Definitely. So the reason why we're working with Mary is Mary's very good at interior design. She works with property investors all over the UK and overseas, and Mary understands what was needed to get the best uplift in value per property. So instead of us just thinking we know it, we thought we'd bring in the expert. Now, should we take a look inside? We saw it was up for sale, but we couldn't actually get through to the agent, and it was one of the online agents, so I won't say which one it is, but we couldn't get through. So what actually happened was we were desperate to come and view it. We just come and knocked on the door, spoke to the guy, and he said he was in the middle of taking it off with the agent because the agent was rubbish. So we got in there, saw the property and thought, oh my gosh, this could be absolutely stunning and beautiful. Agreed the deal with him. We got it about 35,000 under market value, which was great. And now we're going to add the value and get a massive big uplift in it. My first top tip for getting the valuation you want is square footage. When you're coming to buy a property and you're looking at market value, a lot of people look, oh, it's a detached house, I'm going to compare it to a detached house. But that's not really it. You have to compare the square footage because that's what the value is going to do. So if you've seen a 4-bed detached house and you think you can refurb and add value, but the one up the road is double the size, you need to be aware of that because the valuer will change his decision on what he thinks it's worth. So buying a property and adding value, one of the quickest ways to do that is to add square footage. Obviously you need a comparable where it's been done and they've got bigger square footage so you know you'll get the value. But you can do this by having a single story extension, which can be done under permitted development. You can do it by, a lot of people have got a lot of land, they might build a garage, but you just want to add the square footage either by extending or using what you've got within. Some people might have had, a built-in garage where they'll take the garage and they'll make it into a living room. It's then usable square footage which the value will take into account. So square footage is awesome. Make sure you know it, and if you're buying a house to add value and you're not sure how, look at doing the extension and work the numbers around that because that will definitely increase your value.
Tip number 2, I think it's those small design details when a valuer comes in that actually makes the difference. What they do is they show the quality of the finish of a design. So for instance, I'm going to give you a very easy example. If you put in plastic plug sockets as opposed to those nice metal, kind of gunmetal or shiny kind of steel type finish, and you look around a property that has those types of finishing, you immediately think, wow, this is actually very good quality compared to the 10 other properties I've saw this morning. So what you're always trying to do is you're trying to go a much higher spec, even though it actually doesn't cost much more. And a socket might cost you another £4 or £5 per socket, which actually in the grand scheme of things isn't a lot. So in terms of radiators, sockets, light fittings, just go for the lovely, at the moment we're using that really industrial look, or we're going for that high polished steel look, and just carry it throughout the property. That also gives the property a flow, and it will certainly also make a valuer feel like, wow, they've used quite high quality tradespeople here. So again, just look around hotels and cafes and just go and hang out in these places. These are the finer details that they're doing, and you can do that in your project, and you wouldn't believe how high it elevates it. It also gives a very kind of bland room some more colour, some more depth and some more texture. So that's one of my top tips. Tip number 3, if you add off-street parking to your property, it immediately does quite a massive uplift. Now, I live in the south of England. I've recently completed a project for a client, and I did some research. He actually wasn't going to put in off-street parking. Obviously, you've got to work with the highways and you have to get the permissions to do that. But by doing my research, adding that off-street parking space added £55,000 to the valuation. Now obviously this is central Brighton. Obviously having off-street parking is a massive advantage. Obviously that property will sell 10 times quicker than any other property in the same area. Statistically, believe it or not, the average is 2 to 3 cars per household in the UK. So we all know that even just having one space is absolutely vital. Some cars aren't used all the time. They may park on the street, but just having at least one space. If you've got 2 spaces or 3 spaces, oh my God, it's going to skyrocket your valuations and skyrocket the rental, the sale, or whatever way that property is going to be used in the future. So yeah, go for it, definitely.
So tip number 4, and this is restructuring your floor plan. Now this can add thousands to your end valuation. Most people these days want a big open kitchen diner, don't they? They want nice doors looking out onto their garden, they want a study, they want more bedrooms. So what you can do is when you come and view a property, you can get the floor plan out and you can look at where you can rejig things, because rejigging isn't as expensive as extensions. Opening up and knocking down walls, depending on what you're doing, is more cost effective, but you can rejig it to make the house flow, because that's what the value is going to look at. Usable place and the house flowing, and he's going to make sure it's what people want nowadays. Because remember, a valuer is looking, they're acting on behalf of the bank. They're saying, should the bank lend you this money what you think it's worth? And to do that, they gauge what society wants, what houses are selling quickly, and 9 times out of 10, big houses with kitchen, open plan kitchen diners will sell. Houses with an extra bedroom or studies will sell, and these are uplifting the value. So yeah, really easily you can get an architect to help you with this, just to redraw the plans and measure and look at what you can do.
Top tip number 5, I'm going to talk about bathrooms, and I'm going to talk about adding extra things like a downstairs toilet, a shower room and what have you. So I'm working on this project, so I come in with my expertise, and I've noticed it's a very big house. It was actually just going to have one large family bathroom upstairs, and Abby was also going to be putting a downstairs toilet, which is absolutely essential. But we realised, luckily, the stud work was still in process, to turn this into a really nice shower room. Every family needs a second space to wash, to, you know, basically if it's a 4-bedroom house, obviously you're going to need that, and it's going to be really useful. Also, it can be used as an ensuite. We'll show you later, we've created a multifunctional rooms within this property, which is absolutely vital. Just look what happened in the last year. So let's just talk about some value, shall we? So if you add a toilet, a downstairs toilet to a property, it's probably going to increase the value by up to 5k. Now we know it doesn't cost you 5k to put in a downstairs toilet. So again, you can see how your value is going up then, what a really good investment that is. You upgrade that to an actual bathroom, because as long as it's got a shower, a basin, a toilet, that's another bathroom, let's be honest. We tend to put in a shower in these spaces because it might not be so big, and let's be honest, most of us don't have time for baths anymore, especially if we've got children. It's a quick shower and off we go. So that can add a value of 15 to 20k, which is massive. To put in a shower room is probably going to cost you about 3k or 2.5 if you really source your products well. So again, you can just see how you're growing your value by a very small increase in your investment. And guess what? That is your top 5 tips.
But I've actually got a 6th tip. I'm going to give you one for free. Now this one is so important in property. So many people think that they can just come, buy a house on Rightmove, do some stuff to it, Bob's your uncle, everything's okay. And property investing is so much more than that. So my top tip number 6 is understand what you're doing, get the knowledge, and hire the experts. We've brought Mary in because she understands property. She is a property investor. She understands what we need, and we need help with making sure we get this right, because it's critical. The more money we leave in each property, you know, that's less of the pot we've got to play with, and especially if you're using investor money. So you have to get this right. So don't be frightened to spend that money and hire the experts that can help you. So that's our 6 tips, and that's it for this week, guys. If you haven't already, click that link below and come and join me on my 2-day property investing seminar. It's called Wealth Through Property because we want to help you get wealthy through property. So thanks, Mary.
Oh, it's been an absolute pleasure, Abby, and I'm looking forward to showing you around and see how the project's advancing.
Yeah.